Stock of the Day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended trading hours on key US shares and competitive spreads, all on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.
And our stock of the day is Iluka Resources. It is the world's largest producer of zircon, titanium dioxide, rutile and synthetic rutile. Now, the federal government will grant $400 million in funding for Iluka's Eneabba rare earths refinery in WA. The funding boost is part of the government's Future Made in Australia program and comes in addition to its previous $1.25 billion loan. Now, the additional funding is subject to securing offtake agreements satisfactory to the government and delivering positive outcomes in line with the community benefits principles under its Future Made in Australia agenda. Now, Iluka says the project will deliver value to shareholders over decades. It'll provide a further update at its February results. So, what do our experts think? Daniel, what can you tell us?
Yeah, look, I mean, it has been a difficult market for Iluka, given that the main products they sell, being mineral sand, so zircon and rutile, like you've mentioned, heavily linked to Chinese property market, using things like ceramics for zircon and paint for titanium dioxide. So their end market demand has been pretty heavily impacted. That's why they've had, I guess, a tough time really since 2022. They're the world's largest producer in zircon. So the company's actually been winding down production, and its key asset produced, 50% less year on year at its recent results. So the company is going through a bit of a difficult period due to that end user demand. The story that it has with rare earths is fascinating. For those who aren't familiar with it, highly suggest to go on their website and have a bit of a read. It's effectively the mineral sands that they produce and separate in WA produced as a byproduct, which is, has the existence of things like potentially uranium and rare earths in it. They've been stockpiling it since the 1990s. So they have 30 years of a product stockpile. And, when obviously rare earth prices were really strong in 2022, they kind of entered into an agreement with the government to develop a massive separation facility. So something similar to what Lynas does in Malaysia, actually producing a separated rare earth. Unfortunately, like the main commodity that they produce, the price has just been on a massive slump, and most analysts apply a significant negative net present value for that project. So the announcement of, further government support and that Iluka is going to contribute another $200-300 million in equity to it, in addition to the 200 plus that they've already sunk, I think the market, that's why it's not very happy at the moment. They're probably hoping for effectively an abandonment of that project in the near term. That would lead to obviously a positive NPV uplift, but it hasn't kind of received that. I think my view, Andrew, is that I actually think the company has a pretty strong assortment of assets. It's just the commodity cycle is very much against them. They've still got a net cash balance sheet. And for the first time in a while, I think the valuation is actually pretty appealing. So I'm actually going to go on a buy on Iluka in today's news. I think the market's somewhat overreacted. And with a longer time horizon, like a 3 to 5 year view, I actually think this company offers really significant leverage to global growth, and particularly a recovering property market in China. So that would be the key metric to look out for.
Yeah, you surprised me there, given the way you opened that. I thought you were going to be continuing negative.
It's been a period of 2 years of just horrible news.
Yeah, contrary to what the market thinks. All right, so you've got to buy on it. Luke, what are your thoughts?
Look, Daniel knows he's pretty much covered off every relevant part of that stock. He's a good analyst and good bloke, Daniel. So I wouldn't have much more to add. I'm not so positive on Chinese property market, and I don't think the macro is kind of going to be there in the near term, or maybe even in the medium term. I think there's some more issues in China still to come, and certainly in the property sector, they've been overbuilding there for a long time. So I'm not so convinced that turns around for Iluka in the mineral sands market in the near future. I think there is some strategic value in Iluka, and I think the government sort of is indicating that, saying, hey, they're a decent sized employer. We kind of want to be part of this economy. We want to be part of this industry. We don't want to see these guys going out of business. But it's not really a good business to be in. So look, I'd probably be more of a hold on Iluka at these prices, and maybe even looking to sell it if I did get the opportunity at slightly better prices. But you're right, Daniel's right today in saying the market's given it a nice whack, so maybe not the right day to be moving stock today.
That is our stock of the day, Iluka.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. Get started at IG.com.